Good afternoon and welcome to Salam Media Highlights with myself, Salailo Makwidir. The time is 8 minutes past 12 and you're still tuned in to your home of humanitarian journalism. And Enaped will be delving into, a really interesting and concerning story, but one that should be motivational and should be motivating you, our listener, to do something to aid those that are suffering, particularly in the Middle East. We all know that winter is a harsh reality for millions of displaced families in that part of the world, in the Middle East, particularly, Syrian and Palestinian refugees who are currently facing, really difficult and freezing conditions without the basics needed for survival. The Al-Imdaad Foundation has stepped up with this Operation Winter Warmth 2024, and this campaign is aimed at bringing life-saving warmth and hope to those in dire need by sponsoring a winter aid pack for just 600 rands. Donors can provide essential winter items such as blankets, warm clothing, and heaters to families who have lost everything due to conflict. And joining us today is Qari Ziyaad Patel. He's a trustee of the Al-Imdaad Foundation to tell us a bit more about this heartwarming initiative and how we can all make a difference in this winter. Qari, thank you so much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum. Always a pleasure having you join us here on Salam Media.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Salelo, and to all our dear viewers and listeners of Salam Media. Thank you so much for the opportunity this afternoon.
No, the pleasure's all ours, and I think it's very, very important to have you guys on to have a conversation about this very, very wonderful campaign that you have going on. And I think before we get to the campaign, you've been to the Middle East yourself a few times. I think one question that would maybe open up our conversation is just, letting our listeners know how severe the winter conditions in the Middle East can be, particularly those that, are faced by displaced families in the regions where Al-Imdaad Foundation is working in.
So let me first start off by saying that the Winter Warmth, Operation Winter Warmth of the Al-Imdaad Foundation is an annual project of the Al-Imdaad Foundation. It's a very important, pertinent, much needed project of the Al-Imdaad Foundation. And yes, this year around, we have decided to broaden our horizon with regards to the amount of people that we can reach. What we need to understand is that between the months of November and March, that is the time when the winter becomes much more exacerbated, much more intense, much more colder. The winters in the Middle East are known to be bitterly, bitterly cold, unfortunately. Yes, we are 1 year into the Gazan crisis. The Israeli airstrikes have been continuing. We have at least about 90% of the people of Gaza that have been displaced. That's about 1.9 million Gazans that have been displaced. Many of them don't even have adequate shelter to protect them from the elements of nature. And what we also need to understand is that 60% of residential buildings in the Gaza Strip has collapsed, demolished, it's gone, it's bombed to smithereens, it's completely destroyed. It's a very sad state of affair. And 80% of commercial facilities have also been destroyed. And you're not going to believe this stat, that 68% of the road network in the Gaza Strip is also non-existent. What does this tell you? That the entire situation in the Gaza Strip is extremely, extremely dire. We want to label this as a humanitarian catastrophe. It is so sad. It is so sad indeed. So this year around, we have decided to increase our Operation Winter Warmth aid for the people in the Gaza Strip. And yes, as you've mentioned, it is at 600 rands a winter pack. And of course, yes, this includes blankets, much needed winter warmers, such as clothes, such as diesel as well, to power up and to fuel up some of those heaters. Just recently, I got back from the region, and you're not going to believe this. It's already 14 years since we have the Syrian crisis. And after 14 years, people are still living in tents. People are continuing to live in tents. So this just tells you that how serious the situation in the Gaza Strip is.
No, very, very quite concerning. And I know you mentioned Syria and also Palestine in the form of Gaza, but there are other countries that this campaign has targeted this year. Can you give us a bit more on those countries and how do you prioritize areas with the greatest need?
So, this year around, we find that the Middle Eastern crisis has spread. It's not only Palestine, it's not only Syria. We find even Lebanon has also been included. So, there's a vast difference, or there's a vast change, a drastic change from our annual Operation Winter Warmth from yesteryears to the current year. Lebanon was not a crisis per se last year, but this year it has become a hive of humanitarian activity. There's a hive of conflict which is happening in Lebanon. Yes, Turkey has also been included. As we do know, Turkey is a host nation which has been
Mm,
hosting many, many refugees on their border. So this year round, we have taken the decision and we have taken the stance to have a robust Operation Winter campaign which will reach even more people. Reason being is that there are more refugees this year that have been affected than yesteryear or last year. And going forward, we only find that the situation will exacerbate, it will become a bit more worse. And Allahu Alam, we have decided that as an organization, and as an organization of note, that we will have to beef up our humanitarian activities, especially when we have reports, and I have a report right in front of me, that this year round, they are expecting the winters to be extremely intense, extreme bitter. And of course, yes, the winter forecast is also saying to us that the precipitation levels will be very high. So that is a risk of a high snowfall as well. So we want to prepare the
All right, we seem to have lost Qari Ziyaad Patel for a moment there, but while we are busy trying to get hold of him, if you're just joining us, him and I were just talking about the Al-Imdaad Winter Operation Warmth campaign that is currently ongoing. We all know that winter is a very, very harsh reality for millions of displaced families, particularly in the Middle East, with the focus obviously being, on Syrian and Palestinian refugees who are facing, freezing conditions without the basics needed for survival. So this campaign is aimed at exactly that. You can play a role and you can assist them. But we have Qari Ziyaad Patel back. And Qari, okay, we lost him again. But while he's still trying to reconnect, you can get all the relevant information that you need regarding this campaign by following Al-Imdaad Foundation on their various social media campaign platforms. You can also give them a call. The number is 0861 786 243. That's 0861 786 243. Or you can get a bit more information on their website, which is www.alimdad.com. This is Operation Winter Warmth 2024, and it's focusing on a host of countries. And you can be a part of it. You can aid those that I need by sponsoring a winter pack for just 600 rands, and these donations will obviously go towards those that are in need and will provide essential winter items, as we mentioned before. Items such as blankets, warm clothing, particularly for children, and those that are a bit older, older citizens, grandmothers and grandfathers, who we all know, we live with old people, we have older aunts, grand aunts, uncles, who, whenever it's cold, even here in South Africa, when it gets a bit cold, you can see that, they're a bit uncomfortable, they're suffering because of just how cold it is. And, you're able to give them a blanket or switch on the heater. So yeah, I think it's a similar case in the Middle East. You have young children and senior citizens who really need this, because I'm pretty sure that their winters are way more colder and way worse than the winters that we experience here in South Africa. So again, you can give them a call. Their number is 0861 786 243, or you can go onto their website www Al-Imdaad.com. If you're unsure about the spelling, you can go to their social media pages and just search Al-Imdaad Foundation. I'm pretty sure they'll pop up there. Qari Ziyaad is back, and he's switched on his camera. We have him back after losing him for a moment. Qari, we lost you for a moment there, but yeah, you're still talking about, just how severe the winters in the Middle East are, and this campaign spreading to different countries, and the focus not just being on, Palestine and also Syria, but Turkey, which is a host of a lot of these refugees that are coming from these countries.
Firstly, apologies. We've been having some network and internet issues.
That's
We have
okay.
to forgive us for that. Yes, so coming back to the topic of discussion, where we were talking about this year around, their forecast is saying to us that the winters in the Middle East are going to be very intense, very harsh, very bitter. And in so doing, we as an organization, as the Al-Imdaad Foundation, we got to prepare the local refugee populace to deal with these intense winters. Hence, we have embarked on a robust Operation Winter campaign, not forgetting that this is an annual project of the Al-Imdaad Foundation. It is an annual project of the Al-Imdaad Foundation, and it is something which we take very seriously every year on end. Now, when we are comparing the winters of this year to yesteryears and to previous years, we find that this year around, the winters are going to be extremely intense. And as I speak to you, I have a report open before and this is the UN report, which is saying to organizations, NGOs, and so on, that we need to keep in mind that the winters, which will be approaching this year, especially between November and March, this year around, 2024 to 2025, is going to be extremely severe, extremely intense.
No, definitely. And, if there's one thing that I've realized is it's been quite a long year. There's been a lot happening, all across the world, even right here in South Africa at home. And a lot of, our listeners might be experiencing, donor fatigue, if I can put it that way, where, they're feeling a bit strained. The economy has not been that well this year, particularly. What message would you give those that say, I'm not sure if I should be giving. Things are not going that well for me, and that kind of fatigue is starting to set in. We're also approaching the end of the year. That's the reality. We can't escape that. That humans at the end of the day do experience that kind of moment in their lives. What message would you give, people that are listening right now and are currently going through it?
So, Lelo, let me tell you one thing from my experience in the humanitarian fraternity. Engaging with people, engaging with donors, and engaging with the public over the last 25 years, all I have seen is that the more we give, the more we get. So some people may say that this doesn't make a logical argument. How does that work? The more you give, the more you get. But wallahi, by Allah, I can tell you that the people that I have seen in the past who give, Allah gives them more. We've seen this time and again, that the more we give, the more we get. And for those that have not experienced this, I humbly ask you to take this on as a task. Take this on as an exercise and give to a worthy cause. Give to those that don't have, and then you will find the blessings and the barakah. So exactly, I have seen this time and again. Yes, we cannot understand how the dynamics will play out, but I can say to you the result is the same. What is the result? When you give, you will get. So my humble appeal to every one of you out there, whether they want to call it donor fatigue, whatever it may be, it will only be the chosen people. It will only be the funds and the donations and the resources of the chosen people who will be accepted to give to those who need the most. So if you are giving, remember that you have been accepted from that galaxy of individuals who will be doing good, who will be helping and assisting towards noble and noteworthy causes. So to my simple message to every one of us out there, we have an opportunity, and the opportunity lays in our hands and hearts, whether we want to give or not. But for those of us who will give, first and foremost, the reward will be on our scale in the hereafter. Secondly, you will be the recipient of the du'as and the prayers and the supplications of the people that find themselves in the refugee camps. And thirdly, you will be the recipient of barakah and blessings. So the choice is yours whether you want to be part of this noble galaxy of individuals who will be the recipient of the du'as, of the blessings, and so much more. So a humble appeal. Operation Winter Warmth of the Al-Imdaad Foundation. It's only 600 a pack. This festive season, as they call it, let us allocate some of our money or some of our spending to help those that will find themselves in a tent, finding themselves trying to brace the elements of nature. Not too long ago, I was in Lebanon when it was snowing very heavily. I went into a refugee camp and I seen a little young girl. She must have been about 6 or 7 years of age, and she was deformed. I asked the family, why is this so? Was she born in this way? They said to me, no. She fell in the snow, she fractured her hip, and she could not access medical treatment. Hence, this little child, she grew up deformed. In that very same winter, I went to another refugee camp and they went into a tent. And in that tent, people were cooking food. I asked them, what are they cooking? Literally, they had taken the leaves, put leaves into the pot with water, and they were making this into a soup. The winters are so severe. They are so severe in the Middle East. Trust me, for those of us who venture out into this region when it is winter, we cannot even feel our fingers or our lips. So when we are enjoying the warmth this year, all I say to you is let's spread the love and the warmth this year to those people who will be feeling very, very cold. Also remember that when the winter temperatures drop, when winter the temperatures drop very drastically, and this brings about pathogens, communicable diseases, and people then have respiratory diseases as well and respiratory infections. So by us just insulating a population, a populace, if you can just insulate them with the bare minimum, blankets, jackets, winter warmers, diesel for heating, and so on, we will protect them from so much more. Let's help our brothers and sisters when they need help the most.
No, definitely. And for those that are, willing and they want to, be part of this change, how do they get hold of Al-Imdaad, and where can they get the extra information to go about handing that helping hand?
So let's remember the Al-Imdaad Foundation is an organization that has a very strong track record of over 20 years within the humanitarian fraternity. Alhamdulillah, it is a trusted organization. Remember, when you donate to Al-Imdaad Foundation, it is a 100% donations policy. 100% of your donation goes directly to the cause. So we make a humble appeal to support the Al-Imdaad Foundation. This is your organization. It's not my organization. Every one of us, this belongs to the Ummah, and it is a vehicle of the Ummah, primarily taking our goodness to those who need us most. So you're more than welcome to log on to www.alimdaad.com, or you can follow us on our various social media handles at Al-Imdaad. Join us on our WhatsApp group to receive regular updates. So yes, you're more than welcome to donate via any of these platforms, or you can call our call center on 0861 786 243. The decision is yours. I'm only appealing to you. You have the decision. Let's make a difference in the lives of our brothers and sisters who have been suffering to such an extent that we can't even comprehend their suffering right now.
And I think we're going to leave it on that note. We'll be putting out that poster that has all the information on it. But Qari, thank you so much for giving us your time and spreading the word on this very, very important campaign that I think, a lot of us need to be involved in, because if you think about it, here in South Africa, we are blessed. It's an inverse of what the people in the Middle East are kind of experiencing during this time of the year. During this time of the year, as you mentioned, is a so-called festive season. It's pretty warm in the country. It's a jolly, happy mood for everyone. Kids are on holiday, and parents are doing so much activities, and I think just sparing 600 rand for a family in the Middle East just to survive, just to give them the bare minimum to insulate them from a harsh cold winter, can really go a long way. So really important campaign, and thank you so much for joining us and giving more insight on it.
Jazakallah khair. Barakallahu feek.
I mean, that was Qari Ziyaad, Patel Trustee at Al-Imdaad Foundation, giving us more information on a very, very important campaign, the Spread the Warmth campaign that they are currently embarking on as the Al-Imdaad Foundation. And this is in support of refugees in Jordan, Lebanon, Gaza, Syria, Turkey, and Yemen, where winters in that part of the world can get really, really brutal. So for more information, you can head over to their various social media pages, and you can also go to their website, www.alimdaad.com, and you'll get all the info that you need. And yeah, you can go to www.salammedia.com. We also have really interesting things to figure out on our website. But we're going to leave it on that note. We'll see you again in a bit. This has been Salam Media Highlights.
We are here in the middle of a Zahra neighborhood. The whole neighborhood is already destroyed. More than 17 towers are down. Here, as you can see, the firefighters trying their best to help. The people are still under the rubble. A lot of the people.
Join Hamza on his exclusive South African tour as he shares his personal experiences, never before seen footage, and powerful insights on the ongoing genocide in Gaza. This is more than just a talk. It's an invitation to witness Gaza through the lens of Hamza Sha'alan. Don't miss this opportunity to meet the photojournalist who brought Gaza's pain and perseverance to the world in its darkest moments. Follow Salam Media on social media pages for more on this tour.